Everything changed in a matter of seconds. You know the image. The final whistle blows. The confetti falls from the sky, covering the turf in a sea of color. The Lombardi trophy is hoisted high into the night air as the entire world watches. But here is the part they don't show you on the broadcast. As the stadium finally empties out, as the stadium lights power down one by one, and the echoes of that massive celebration finally fade into the cold concrete, a harsh, unforgiving reality sets in for the Seattle Seahawks. Tomorrow morning, when the sun comes up, the target on their back is officially the biggest in the National Football League. Welcome to NFL Nexus. We break down the game beneath the game. If you want to understand the true pulse of the league, the real chess match happening out there on the turf, you need to subscribe to the channel, like this explainer, and comment on what you thought down below. And hey, if you really want to dive deep into the film room with us and see how this league actually operates, support the channel by becoming a channel member. Because today, we are pulling back the curtain. We are bringing you a premium, cinematic breakdown of the blood, the sweat, and the absolute sheer grit required to actually defend a championship. We're looking at the true anatomy of a dynasty. We are talking about the unsung heroes who are about to carry the immense weight of an entire city squarely on their shoulders. So, I have to ask you, how do you sustain a Super Bowl roster? I want you to pause for a second and really think about the sheer magnitude of that question. In the modern NFL, the salary cap isn't just a rule book, it is a ruthless, unforgiving machine. It is quite literally designed to tear down great teams. It is a system engineered from the ground up for parity. The very moment you win it all, what happens? Your superstar players absolutely rightfully demand the biggest contracts in the history of the sport. Your genius coaching staff gets poached by desperate franchises looking for a savior of their own. The very roster that won you the ring, the chemistry, the depth, it's gone. It is vaporizes overnight. So how do you keep that championship window open? Listen, you have to look past the star quarterbacks. You have to look past the marquee wide receivers demanding the ball and the edge rushers dominating the morning headlines on the sports networks. The real answer? It lies in the shadows. It lies in the darkest, grittiest corners of the depth chart, where the unsung heroes are forged in the brutal, suffocating heat of training camp. These are the players who absolutely do not get the multi-million-dollar shoe deals. They aren't shooting primetime commercials, but they hold the absolute structural fabric of the football team together. When the salary cap destroys the middle class of your roster, these are the men who have to step up and fill the void. Because here is the absolute truth of the NFL. Stars win games. The dark side wins championships. That right there is our thesis for this entire explainer. This is the unglamorous, violently physical, and honestly beautiful truth of roster building. When it's fourth quarter, late December football, the sleet is coming down sideways, you can't feel your hands, your quarterback is bruised and battered, and you need one single, agonizing yard just to keep your entire season alive. It is not the superstar who clears the path. It's the gritty, relentless enforcer who entirely embraces the absolute dark side of the game. We are about to analyze the highly specific, incredibly granular battles, the microscopic trench-level details that will define the entire upcoming season for the Seattle Seahawks. So, let's step into the trenches. Part 1. Resurrecting the fullback. We're going to start over on the offensive side of the ball. We are looking at a place where the game is still played in a phone booth. The violent, totally necessary art form of the offensive trenches. We are talking about resurrecting a position that analysts, for years now, claimed was dead and buried in the modern, pass-happy NFL. The fullback. Specifically, we are shining a massive spotlight on a player who embodies pure, unadulterated brute force, Robbie Outs. In an era of spread offenses, 5-receiver sets, and quarterbacks throwing the ball 50 times a game, the Seahawks have deliberately chosen to zig while the rest of the league zags. They are bringing a sledgehammer to a track meet. Just look at this metric, 203. I want you to feel the sheer physical weight of that number. 203 vital snaps over 12 games last season. Do you know what actually happens in a single NFL snap for a fullback? It is a microcar crash. It is 4 to 6 seconds of absolute violence. For 203 snaps, Robbie Outs acted as a human battering ram. He is a guided bulldozer designed to isolate a 250-pound middle linebacker who is coming downhill at full speed and completely erase him from the play. These aren't just empty reps for the stat sheet. These are the crucial, tone-setting collisions that clear the pressure, open the running lanes, and fundamentally break the will of a defensive front over 4 quarters. When the Seahawks need to establish pure dominance against high-volume edge rushers or insanely complex blitz packages, Outs is the designated extra blocker. He is the vanguard of this offense. Let's break down the anatomy of this weapon because his journey is fascinating. Drafted 175th overall in the 5th round out of Alabama. Now, when you look at his collegiate stats, they are shockingly modest. We're talking just 16 receptions for 192 yards and 3 touchdowns over his entire 4-year career with the Crimson Tide. But here is the crucial point. The Seahawks didn't draft him for his hands. They drafted him for his devastating raw power to control the line of scrimmage. At Alabama, he originally came in as a tight end, but his identity quickly mutated. He became a physical blocking specialist. Now, the transition from college to the NFL is a massive learning curve for anyone, but Oofs proved incredibly consistent. He successfully converted his tight end background into becoming a premier, highly physical run blocker. Let's look at the micro details of how he actually operates on the field. It's all about leverage, it's all about pad level. He fires off the snap, keeping his center of gravity incredibly low, engaging his hands directly inside the defender's breastplate with a violent strike. He intentionally takes his spot away from a wide receiver on the field, which forces the defense to shift their focus inside, right into the meat grinder. He has to be powerful enough to stonewall a defensive lineman, yet agile enough to scrape across the formation and establish a zone run lane in a fraction of a second. It is a thankless, brutal job, and he executes it flawlessly.
And the urgency here? It cannot be overstated. Everything changed for this offense when Super Bowl MVP running back Kenneth Walker III departed. That is a massive, gaping hole in the Seattle offense, a completely devastating loss of production that you cannot just patch with a Band-Aid. Now the entire burden of the run game shifts. Woods must anchor this rushing attack for an incredibly young, highly inexperienced backfield featuring Jardarian Price and George Holai. These young runners are going to be relying blindly on Oots' hip to find the hole. They are following him into the fire. Furthermore, enter new offensive coordinator Brian Fleury, coming over from the 49ers where he was the run game coordinator. Fleury knows exactly how to weaponize his fullback position. He just spent years watching Kyle Juszczyk completely redefine the fullback role in San Francisco. Oots is poised to become the ultimate beneficiary of Fleury's heavy package philosophy. The entire foundation of the Seahawks offense, their ability to control the clock and punish defenses, now rests squarely on the broad shoulders of this 5th-round enforcer.
Part 2. The Dark Side Defender.
Now we transition to the defense, a unit that doesn't just want to stop you from getting a first down, they want to make you feel it for the rest of the week. Enter linebacker Drake Thomas. If Robbie Otts is the sledgehammer on offense, Drake Thomas is the scalpel on defense. A player who literally went from fighting for his football life to becoming a near Pro Bowl caliber talent in a matter of months. Make one player feel like two. I really want you to let that quote resonate for a second. This isn't just some catchy locker room slogan painted on the wall. This is the ruthless, defining philosophy of the Seahawks' dark side defense. It's a collective mindset. It demands that every single defender play with such overwhelming speed, such punishing physicality, and such perfect split-second anticipation that the opposing quarterback feels like there are 15 defenders out there on the field instead of 11. Every window's closed, every gap is filled, and absolutely no one embodies this metamorphosis better than Drake Thomas. He took this mantra, internalized it, and used it to fuel one of the most stunning breakout seasons in recent NFL memory.
5 feet 11 inches. In a league of absolute giants. In a game defined by highly engineered, explosively fast athletes standing 6'3" and weighing 250 pounds, Drake Thomas is radically undersized. Think back to the 2023 NFL Draft. 259 names were called. Imagine sitting at home watching every single pick tick by on the television screen, round after round, waiting for the phone to ring. It never did. He went entirely undrafted out of NC State, despite putting up a spectacular college career with nearly 300 tackles and 46 tackles for loss. Why? Because the scouts said he lacked elite explosiveness. They looked at the measurables, they looked at the stopwatch, and they said he was just too small to shed NFL-level offensive linemen. But you know what? They couldn't measure his mind. Thomas overcame the physical limitations by relying on sheer unadulterated football IQ. He spent his first 2 seasons in Seattle in the shadows, quietly learning the system, studying tape until his eyes literally bled in the midnight hours, mastering the angles, the cuts, and the complex geometry of offensive schemes. He became undeniable not because he was the biggest guy in the room, but because he ensured he was always the smartest player on the field.
And all that obsessive, relentless preparation resulted in this massive metric, 96. After sitting on the bench for the first 3 games, Thomas finally got his shot due to rotation, and he absolutely exploded onto the scene. 96 total tackles in his breakout season. But it wasn't just about bringing guys down 10 yards downfield. It was the sheer disruption behind the line of scrimmage. 10 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 8 pass breakups, a clutch interception in Week 18.
Imagine the sheer precision required for a 5'11" linebacker to shoot a microscopic gap in an NFL offensive line, to perfectly time the snap count, dip his shoulder under a pulling, highly agile 320-pound guard, completely avoid the block, and drop a running back in the backfield before the play even has a chance to begin. That is exactly what Thomas delivered on a weekly basis. He became a heat-seeking missile, turning his supposed lack of size into a lethal, unpredictable advantage of leverage and maneuverability.
Let's rapidly break down these versatile traits to really understand his true value to this franchise. He anticipates run and pass plays flawlessly. He processes the offensive formation pre-snap and literally sees the play develop before the center even snaps the ball. He is a defensive chameleon. He's entirely capable of dropping deep into a middle zone to cover a tight end seamlessly in space, or violently blitzing off the edge to absolutely terrorize a quarterback's blindside. He relies entirely on that sky-high football IQ to take perfect pursuit angles, consistently shutting down outside edge runs. But here is the most critical development of all. He anchors head coach Mike Macdonald's incredibly complex 4-2-5 defense. Listen, this scheme is not just a standard playbook, it is a labyrinth. It is a constantly shifting, evolving maze of coverages and blitz packages that demands linebackers who can process information like supercomputers while running at full speed. Thomas doesn't just fit this specific scheme, he is the skeleton key that unlocks its true terrifying potential. And the Seahawks front office recognized it immediately, locking him down with a 2-year, $8 million extension. He is the ultimate dark side defender.
Part 3. The Safety Showdown. Now we move to the deep third of the field, the secondary. The Seahawks have a legendary, feared legacy in the defensive backfield. We all know that. But right now, they're facing a legitimate crisis. Kobe Bryant's departure in free agency for a massive 3-year, $40 million deal with the Chicago Bears has left a gaping, dangerous void at the safety position. When a championship team loses a piece that critical, a piece that glues the secondary together, it creates a massive vacuum. And stepping right into that vacuum are two radically different players fighting for their professional lives in the blistering, exhaustive heat of training camp. Ty Lakata, the undrafted grinder, versus Bud Clark, the highly drafted ball hawk. I need you to understand, this isn't just a standard battle for a starting spot. It is a clash of two entirely different archetypes of football players. The tension here on the practice field is palpable. You can feel it in every eye contact, every single DB drill. You have an exclusive rights free agent who has clawed his way up from the absolute bottom of the barrel, going toe-to-toe with a second-round rookie who was handpicked by the front office to be the future of the franchise. Every single rep in practice, every film session grade, every preseason snap is under a microscope. The stakes? A starting job on a Super Bowl defending defense.
Let's actually break down these contrasting profiles, because they couldn't be more different. First, look at Ty Okada. Undrafted out of Montana State in 2023, he barely saw the field his rookie year. We are talking just 33 defensive snaps. But when catastrophic injuries decimated the secondary last season, Okada was thrown directly into the fire. He started 11 games, played an absolutely exhausting 742 snaps, and racked up 65 tackles. He wasn't just a warm body filling a gap, he excelled. Pro Football Focus graded him out as the 17th best safety in the entire National Football League. He is a battle-tested, hardened warrior who knows exactly what it takes to survive a grueling NFL season. Now, on the other side, look at Bud Clark. Drafted 64th overall out of TCU, he represents pure, unadulterated turnover pedigree. 15 interceptions in his college career. He has the elite 6'2", 190-pound frame and is an absolute magnet for the football. This is a classic NFL showdown, the hardened, proven veteran who earned his stripes in the mud against the shiny, high-ceiling rookie. Okada proved he can hold the line and tackle in space, but Clark was brought in to make the game-breaking highlight reel plays that shift momentum in an instant.
It is a complete and total clash of versatility. In this specific defense, safeties aren't just playing deep center field like the old days. They are required to step down and play the slot receiver, rotate into the box to stop the run like a linebacker, and play true single-high free safety. Right now, as it stands, Ty Okada is the favorite to start next to Julian Love. He knows the system intimately, he doesn't make mental errors, but Mike Macdonald's defense is entirely predicated on pre-snap confusion and multi-positional dominance, and that is exactly what Bud Clark brings to the table. Just look at his final year at TCU. Clark played 309 snaps in the slot, 214 down in the box, and 139 at free safety. He is a defensive Swiss Army knife. Even if Okada wins the starting job on day one, Macdonald is going to find a way to deploy Clark's ball hawking skills. The pressure on Okada to perform flawlessly, with a highly touted second-round pick breathing down his neck every single day, is going to push this secondary to its absolute limits.
Part 4. Sustaining a Dynasty.
So as we pan out and look at the grand picture of this franchise, we start to realize something crucial. Championships aren't just won in February under the bright lights and the falling confetti. They are won in the absolute dog days of summer. They are won on the practice field, in the windowless meeting rooms, in the grueling, highly critical film sessions. Sustaining a dynasty requires a roster that is constantly cannibalizing itself, constantly pushing from the bottom up to survive the harsh financial realities of the sport. These granular battles we just mapped out for you, the incredibly violent resurrection of the fullback position with Robbie Oots, the tactical, brilliant evolution of the undersized linebacker Drake Thomas, and the high-stakes, bitter safety showdown between Ty Okada and Bud Clark. These aren't just footnotes in a training camp blog. These three storylines will completely and totally define the entire upcoming season for the Seattle Seahawks. This is the true anatomical structure of a team trying to defy the gravity of the NFL salary cap. Which leaves us with one final, incredibly provocative question. Are these unsung heroes, the converted tight end, the undersized linebacker, the battling safeties, are they actually enough to secure another ring? Can they truly replace the massive superstars who walked out the door for bigger paydays? The Seahawks are betting their entire season on it. They are betting that their culture, their dark side mentality can forge diamonds under the immense, crushing pressure of defending a championship. This has been your deep dive on NFL Nexus. I want to know exactly what you think. Drop into the comments right now and tell me, who do you think is the most vital unsung hero on this roster? Make sure you hit that subscribe button to the channel, like this explainer, and if you love this level of cinematic film breakdown, support the channel by becoming a channel member today. We can't do this without you. Until next time, keep your eyes on the trenches, because that is where the real game is played.